Hello people. Today I want to talk to you about the final offer of the Real Democracy Party to the Democratic National Committee. Our final offer to trade electoral votes cast for me, write-in candidate John Manamas, in exchange for election reforms passed by the House of Representatives. Now, this plan will be realistically and effectively executed only if we have volunteers to serve as presidential electors for the Real Democracy Party. But we can still have a revolution by vote, and we can still have a very powerful impact an important first step toward reforming our election system. The two-party system has fallen apart, become chaotic, corrupt, destructive, a real disaster, turning control of our government over to the Klan, white supremacists, and religious fanatics. And they're wrecking the government. They're destroying it, the federal government. They're doing a bit of a job on the state governments, too. So, here's our final offer. Basically, the Real Democracy Party is not so much an effort to get a particular candidate elected as it is to compel the Congress to pass election reforms and keep the constitutional promise of a Republican form of government, which means majority rule. So here they are, 5 elements. First, mandatory voting, because we have to have mandatory jury duty in order to keep the promise of a trial by jury if you're accused of a crime. And in order to have majority rule, everyone has to vote. We can't continue the system of having 40% of the people abstain because they feel like it. That's been going on for 120 years. So we've had minority rule for 120 years. B, practical uniformity of state election practices. Yeah, we need to have, instead of 50 different, wildly different, in some cases, sets of rules for conducting elections and how people vote and how you become a candidate and all that. It's just really kind of a mess because every state has their own rules. And it's not just that they have their own rules, which is understandable, but they're just so different sometimes from the other states. So the 50 states should get together, and the federal government should provide financial assistance and in some cases maybe technological assistance whenever the states implement a plan to have uniform standards and rules for elections. C, competitive election practices. The two-party system is rigid and authoritarian and effectively eliminates real political competition for many new or minority political parties. It is absolutely crazy to have a conservative new party take votes away from the Republican Party and to have a liberal new party take votes away from the Democrat. This is nuts. We should have party coalitions, ranked choice voting, fusion voting, and as I said, political party coalitions between new parties and old parties that have similar platforms. All of these are explained in detail in writing on the website. Everything is on the website. There's no secrets and there's no subversive plan here. Everything is open and everyone knows what the Real Democracy Party stands for because it's been on the website since December of 2015. Suppression of voting should be a criminal act. We need to change the law so that people who participate in voter suppression are convicted of a felony crime and sentenced or fined or both. And E, last but very important, timely coordination with the U.S. Senate. So the House of Representatives would have to pass these election reforms before I donated my electoral votes to the Democratic candidate after November 3rd, 2020. So the House would have to pass this first. And this law can include a provision, should include a provision, that gives the Senate 120 days in which to concur and pass it on so that the president can sign it. And this is a real possibility because after November 3rd, the Democratic Party may control the U.S. Senate. So that's it basically. This is our final offer so that everybody knows what we stand for and what we plan to do and what we're committed to do. It's a promise. It's a contract. It's real. And we still have to deal with the problem we have because we don't have presidential electors pledged to the Real Democracy Party. But there's still time. We have until the end of September to do that. And it's a fairly quick process once people in the states decide that they want to volunteer to do this. And I want to emphasize that if you pledge to vote for John Manamas as a presidential elector, that does not interfere at all with your freedom to vote in the general election. When you vote in the general election, you cast a secret ballot like anybody else, and no one is controlling who you vote for. But as a presidential elector, you would be pledged to vote for John Manamas. And that's how it works in every state. When you vote for president, you're not really voting for the name that's printed on the ballot. You're voting for the electors whose names do not appear on the ballot, and the electors are voted by the political parties. It's a wild system invented. I believe it's totally contrary to the Constitution, and that is explained on the Real Democracy Party website. Now, I plan to make only 2 more short videos. One about Make Them Scared. Why it's legitimate and valid for you to take action that instills fear in the Democrats and Republicans. Fear that they're going to lose the elections, lose their jobs, lose their control, lose their status as the American nobility and the political class who control the government, a little minority who controls the government on behalf of rich people in America. You need to make them afraid that they're going to lose. You need to make them afraid that they're going to lose their power over the government. And the way to do that is the revolution by vote. So I'm going to explain that in detail in my next video, Make Them Scared. And then I will make, after that, one more video, which is intended to inspire and arouse non-voters of America to register to vote as no party voters. Thanks for listening. See you next time.